No,
Wait, so I'm going to be doing the intro, right?
we're live.
Oh,
Hello, everybody. How you guys doing today?
this is live and unscripted, as you can tell.
Yep, unscripted and live, and we're doing something a little bit different today.
Hmm. Tell us about that, David.
So if you're on the YouTube channel, you're going to see something on the side. As we are loading things up, we are going to be having a live video while we're in, so that we can actually reply to comments and things like that. So it's literally going to be live. So if you post a comment on live, we will see it and we will get back to you. But meanwhile, let's get into the discussion.
Let's get into it.
So, how are you doing, Will? Why don't you introduce our lovely, wonderful guest speaker?
Yeah, I'm doing well, David. I'm just happy to be here. God put me on the roll call, woke me up this morning, and it's always a good day whenever he does that. Yeah, and we have the lovely Miss Rose Mary. All three of us right now, we are all financial coaches. We're all personal development coaches. We're all life changers, is what we are, because our lives have been changed. Hallelujah, by the one on high. That's what we get to do. So, Rosemary, just come on in, introduce yourself, tell all of our listening ears who you are, and yeah,
Thank you for that great introduction. My name is Rose, and my last name is actually Mary. It's a little confusing, but I met William and David both through the financial coaching our world, and I am 64 years old. I was a single mom for a while. I raised two boys, during that time, and just really kind of am honored to be on here, and I was honored to be asked to be on here. So we're just going to share some things, and hopefully it'll help somebody that's out there listening today.
totally butchered your last name, and we've talked like several times in beautiful conversations. I know that you're Rosemary, but I said Marie. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, we're honored to have you on. And David, you were talking about doing something a little bit different. Tell us about that.
Um, I kind of already did. So we got we're going to be doing YouTube Live. You actually see it on the side.
Or are you talking about all that tech stuff?
Yeah, all the
Oh,
tech stuff.
that's what I
So,
need to register.
you know, I am going to be making a special announcement, but that comes later.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't want to blow that yet.
And I'm going to help you do that, right?
You are going to help me make the announcement.
Nice.
And so it's going to be really great. So,
I'm looking forward to it.
what's the exciting part that made you want to be a personal development coach, Rose? What kind of like what's your story? What's your power?
Thank you for asking that question. My little backstory is I went through a really difficult divorce at the age of 47. And it was a divorce I really didn't want, but my husband at the time did not want to be married any longer. And so during that time, I really was scared about what I was going to do financially. That was my main concern because I had been married for 24 years, going on 25, and just really concerned about what am I going to do financially. And so my backstory is I was able to not only be successful with the businesses that I was able to be a part of, but also become debt free during that time. And when I went on my journey to become debt free, it had been a passion of mine for quite a while. So when I saw the intentions that I had being really coming to pass very quickly, quicker than what I thought it would happen, I am now totally debt free, and I can honestly tell you that my passion to get into financial coaching and what drove me was to really just reach out and help other women that might be going through similar situations, or even families, or even there's probably some men out there that are single parents as well. Just be able to be an encourager and give them a lot of hope and let them know how quickly this can be done if you really set your heart and your mind to it, and just have that kind of intensity in making it to the other side. And so I have a passion now to be able to help people get to the other side of this. And also the freedom that comes along with it is amazing. And I really want to see people experience that freedom as well. So that's kind of where I stand on the passion side of what I do.
You mentioned the freedom that it brings. Um, Tell us a little bit about the freedom that you've experienced.
One of my biggest ones that I love so much, and I have to kind of tell all my kids a little bit, but when they were younger and I was on my own with them, a lot of times they would, you live like we're poor. And I kind of have to laugh about it because I told them there's a difference between living below your means and living like you're poor. So I like to say I like to live below my means so that I can have enough money in my budget to not only provide for myself, but to also be able to reach out and help other people, because I believe there's such a freedom in that. There are always going to be needs, and we're surrounded by people that have needs. And a lot of times, like I was looking back over this past month, and there was 3 teachers in my life that didn't even have money in their budget to finish buying the supplies for their kids' classrooms. And somehow or another, I just had it in my heart to reach out to them because I thought I have a little extra money this month, I can help them. And every single teacher that I reached out to was so appreciative and so grateful. And they all told me, you don't have to buy supplies for all my students, but I was able to do that. And there's a lot of freedom in that when you say, yes, I do have the money in my budget to be able to just help other people. And they thought, well, maybe she'll buy for a few students and I can get someone else to help me with the other students. But when they gave me their list of what they needed and I put it in to my budget, everything fit perfectly. And so I could look back and say, I know that was a God thing, but at the same time, there was no stress on my end of how I was going to pay my bills or anything like that, because I knew that I had that extra money to help out there. So that's what I mean when I say freedom. There's just such a freedom in knowing that you've got yourself covered. And being that I had no surprises, I had a few surprises come up in August with my car, but I still had money left over so that I was able to help them.
Yeah, the freedom you share, I can tell you, I know a lot of times you go and you're doing certain things and it's like, ooh, I need this or I want this, and as long as it's under that certain amount that we set for ourselves, it's like, I can just get this. I don't have to worry. Things go on with your car, no problem. Just get taken care of, right? We have what's called a sinking fund, and so it'll take care of, like, we have a car fund. So if something happens with the car, oh, it's taken care of. Don't even worry about it. Just do it. And how do you feel about that, Will?
Yeah, the freedom that it provides, wow, it's amazing. It is. It's unmatched. And I think, it's really interesting defining wants from needs and really learning what the differences of those two are. Because, when we get into like maybe panic mode, perhaps the lines get blurred and, we confuse needs for wants, or maybe vice versa. Now, there was something that really stood out, Rose, before when you were talking. You said that you went through a really tough divorce some years ago, and the financial aspect of it was daunting. Talk a little bit about that under the heading of this. In my own personal coaching practice, I have seen typically one person in marriages, either the husband or the wife, one of the two, bearing that burden, while the other longs to help bear it, but for whatever reason, they're struggling committing to going to the budgeting meetings, maybe hearing both voices, having the inputs of both parties, and like equally bearing the weight together. Talk a little bit about that.
Uh, Mine was mainly, I know when I was married, he wasn't ever interested in really putting a pencil to what we were spending every month. And I would pray a lot. And I know that there were times that I paid all the bills because he trusted me too. But there were times where I didn't want to panic, but I thought, well, I have to do without so that I can have money for this or that. So I think it was good for me in a way to be in a marriage like that, because when it was said and done, I had learned how to live by very humble means. And no matter what I made, I was still able to pay my bills every month. I even at one point, and this was the scary part for me. I don't know if there's anyone out there that can relate, but I did not have a college degree. And I had a lot of experience, but I didn't have a college degree to fall back on. So I had to basically look and see, what do I have in my hands that I can pick up, that those God-given talents that God naturally gives us, and say, perhaps that's something I can do and make money doing it. And it was the fact that I had been cooking since I was very young, and almost like a self-taught chef. And that was one of the first businesses I had. Was I owned a restaurant in a little town called Bernie, Texas, and that was my livelihood for about 10 years. So that helped a lot. And then just also, like I said, just because of the fact that I learned to live below my means within the marriage. Once we were divorced and I no longer had that support, I knew, okay, I'm on my own. I'm the only one that's going to pick myself up by my bootstraps and get this moving in a forward direction. And that really kind of challenged me to just start moving forward and start cooking for people. And after that, I just got to where I had so many orders that I was able to have my own restaurant there. And so ended up with doing special events and just a little bit of everything, personal chef jobs and anything. I never said no to anything. I just always challenged myself and stretched myself a lot to do better. So, and I was kind of like, I think of you, William, when I say this, because I know how hard you're working right now. And when you tell me the hours you're working per week, I was doing the same thing as you're doing right now. And I believe I was about 47 years old when I was doing that. So I totally respect and understand people that are that intense about just being on their own and making it happen and making it work, helping it to work. So,
Mm,
I love how she says she loves the intensity. The whole philosophy, live like nobody today, and you will live like nobody tomorrow.
that's it.
And
That's it.
we
Yeah.
do that when we're getting rid of debt. We always should live less than what we make so that one, we get out of debt, two, so we can save. But also, if we're always telling people, get a second job, do overtime, do whatever. But we do that ourselves. And
Yeah.
most of the time, we do it before we even tell the clients to do it,
Yeah. Like
you
we're
know?
living this stuff.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if people knew how much hours I worked or you, I mean, it's crazy.
Hmm.
Some people know it's like, it's just unreal, but you got to do it. I mean, you don't want to tell somebody one thing and do the opposite, right?
Amen.
You got
Yeah.
to do it. Practice what you preach.
That's it. That's it. That's it. And something that you said, Rose, wow. You talked about those natural abilities that God gives us versus the college education. You know, I think it's in the natural abilities that we really are able to shine. Like that's where it's at. You mentioned cooking from an early age, and then going on to like being a personal chef, opening your own restaurant. Hallelujah! Like praise God. And then like once I think whether you're a personal chef or now you're a coach, perhaps a hybrid of the two of sorts, or personal development coach just like only. I think those hours worked become less after we have sacrificed, after we've put our discipline in. Uh, and I think that that's where we're all headed.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what else, David? What else stood out there?
Well, the part that scares me is the work. We talk about we got to, work more and stuff like that. That scares me. I want to have fun. When
Yeah.
was the last time I had fun? Well, enrichment. But I mean, besides that, when was the last time we
And that
actually
was a
had fun?
work conference.
Yeah, it was a work conference, but it was a blast too. I got no sleep either,
Yeah.
but anyhow,
Okay, something just popped in my head. King Solomon says, find the joy in your labor.
mhm. Yep.
So it's like if we're not doing something that naturally brings us joy, probably need to change it
Yeah.
and go find something that does.
Yep. Yeah. But the key to that too is, um, I can find joy. I love swimming,
Yeah.
so I can swim my whole life, but yet make no money. So even though,
Unless you're Michael Phelps.
yeah, even though we want to find joy, we want to make sure that it's productive joy.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Pick up on it. He actually called, I guess. So that, just being out there and just working and things like that, and going to the next level and stepping to the next thing. So we've accomplished this. We've accomplished that. What do we do next? How do we use that to drive us to the next level? Or use our experiences, like you have some good experiences, and how do you use that to drive your next? Still nothing? Why isn't she picking up? It's about her.
I wasn't quite sure if you were asking me about that or not.
This is supposed to be a great conversation. Talk. So, what do you think, Rose?
So I feel like looking back over my life, um, everything that I did to just help to earn that money to become debt free was a stepping stone to something greater and bigger. And we don't always have the full picture. We don't always see the plan. But as long as we're in a forward motion, not looking left or right, just looking straight ahead and continuing to just, I say, grab your hands and put it to the plow. I believe that you do eventually get to the other side, and when you can look back over your shoulder, you realize, well, all that I did when I worked at the restaurant was training for this job that came down my path the next time. And all that I did for being a private chef, it was for the job that came the next time. And I remember in my marriage going through a 6-year intensive Christian counseling course. And I kept thinking, this is never ending. It's never going to matter. And I'm able to really take a lot of the principles that I learned while I was doing that and apply them to my financial coaching business. And so I even look back over those years of hardship and being in a bad situation in my marriage and thinking, here I was in that Christian counseling program, not only learning for myself, but helping other people. And now I'm able to take those same principles and apply them to my financial coaching business as well. So a lot of times we can think we're doing something that's not going to matter, but if you look at it as a stepping stone to the next thing, it really does trajectory moving forward to know there's something better coming down your path.
Oh, that's powerful.
That was powerful.
Now, I know, like with me, my story is like a roller coaster story, and I use that to elevate and to really work with people. So, like the people I work with, I relevate.
Relevate?
Yeah, relevate.
Okay. I'm making words. At least in the definition.
So it's bringing something to relate to,
Relatable.
relatable,
Okay.
but it's also to the next level,
Hmm.
right? So it's like I a lot of things that I did when I was younger, I would never want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm able to use that to help somebody else out of that situation. So, like, I used to be in a very bad group,
Yeah.
and I use those stories all the time, the things I did, not as glory, but somebody in that situation to pull them out.
They needed to hear it.
They need to hear it. And in order to do that, sometimes we use our past
To be relatable.
to be relatable.
Or the other one.
And so the thing is as we're pulling them out, we're
Mhm.
using our personal experiences because that's where our heart is.
Right.
We don't want them to go there anymore.
Yeah.
And we do that in our coaching,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
So as we're helping people, the best people we help out is the things we have conquered. So the more we have conquered, the more we help.
The relatability factor is key. It's key because if we're not relatable, then we come off as like judgy. We're looking down our nose, hearing their problems, not speaking from a place of brokenness and experience ourselves. Um, wow, yeah, that relatability is huge.
Yeah, and so many times when people become debt free, they look down at other people. Oh, you're in debt? Matter of fact, I had a client that one of them was debt free and one of them was not.
Mm, yep,
And she was like, well, you have to be debt free before we go any further. She's holding her money. Actually, I'm already blowing it. But one is holding their money over the other one,
right.
right? And it's not about that.
Mhm.
It's about when you become married, you two become one.
Right. That includes the money.
Right. So, I mean, you got to, okay, great. You became debt free. Can you teach the other one how to be debt free?
Mm.
So we don't want
Does
to
the
hold,
other one want to learn how to be debt free?
you got to be equally yoked.
Yeah,
So you should,
right.
you know.
That's a big part of it.
So using our past to help people out in the future, how do you find that to be successful for you?
Um, well, I wanted to share something first of all when you were talking because it reminded me of something. I was working with um, a little young, they're fixing to get married, like a fiance. And anyway, she came to me and I said, it's very helpful for your fiance to be there at the meeting. And we had the best time over coffee discussing their finances. And she came to me in front of him and said, I am the one with the problem. And he's just along for the ride. So I let them both do the quick start budget, and they both did it. I was so proud of them. But I really started crying during the meeting because she point blank told me, I know that I'm in debt and I know that I'm an overspender, and he so graciously has offered to help me get out of debt. But you know what? She said, I told him no thank you because I want this to be a little painful for me so that I will never get into debt again once we're married. And I thought that was just so mature of this young girl to be telling her fiance that. Anyway, but just based on what you were saying a second ago, it just really reminded me of that. But I think what we have been through in the past, I think it's always experience that is the best coach. Like you have had to muddle through something or go through something yourself. And you going back to what you said about replacing that spirit of judgment, I've really adapted what we've been taught is to be curious about how people got to where they're at. There's a lot of times people just hit on hard times and it's not in their control, and that will get them into debt. So instead of just saying and judging, just be real curious about how did it happen and how can I help you get to a better place. So being that we've had that experience, we've gone through the hard times, we've hit the bumpy roads, we just kept on going, we've climbed the mountains. I always say, call your mountains level plains. They're going to be moved someday out of your life. But I think that experience is the best coach of all. I really do believe that with all my heart.
Yeah, wow. Humbled, humbled, humbled that you're here. The fact that the young lady had the maturity, had the knowledge there to say, I don't want his help. I want this to hurt as much as it's going to with me doing it myself, because if it doesn't, then probably not going to learn anything.
Hmm. That's powerful. And even with coaching, you know, we always say that we want it to be where they feel it, because if they don't, they're not actually going to do anything.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of people, even in the FPU classes we do, Financial Peace University, some people it's gifted to them. and they're there for free.
Mm,
And the work they put through is like, are you even here?
yeah.
Are you contributing? Are you trying to improve?
Yeah.
But then, the ones that actually, Financial Peace University is a very small price. But the ones that pay that very small price, they are all in. They're
Yep.
trying to change their life.
Yep.
And it really doesn't matter how much you pay or anything like that. That's not the thing. It's, do you change your life? Does it impact you?
Yeah.
I mean,
But how much you pay is going to affect how serious you are.
yeah, but Financial Peace University is $99 for a year.
Sure.
So it's not that much.
Right.
But that's the starting point, and that's the first commitment for you to actually, I want to change my life. First financial peace class I took changed my life.
Yeah. It's about that transformation.
Hmm.
We can have all the knowledge in the world. Uh, we're clinging symbols.
Hmm.
Like we have to have love. We've got to have that transformation. We have to be renewed moment by moment. And if we're not experiencing that, what's the point?
Hmm.
What's the point?
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I know you do FPU as well, Rose. Um, do you see that in your class, the people that are gifted, do you see as big of a commitment as people that actually put the foot forward?
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. So I did it years ago. I did the principles of Dave Ramsey because I read and I watched all of his shows. And but recently, this summer, I made myself go back through Financial Peace University because it was a passion of me to be able to help even people at my church, and I thought I could start a life group and really help out there. But what I noticed even within my little group in the summer, it started with, I think, like 12 of us, but I could tell the people that were very committed in the group versus the people that were just kind of, well, I'm here. And by the end, when we finished, the 9 that I knew, I picked them out of the crowd as they're just diehards. They're going to be here from beginning to end. They were the ones that we actually finished with. It was exactly the ones I had said. I kind of had pointed them out of a crowd because I could tell that every class they came so prepared and they were very into the lessons and they were asking the right questions. And, so the more that you put into something, the more you're going to get out of it. And one other thing I did want to mention that I tell the people that I help with financial coaching is what financial coaching does for people. When you get your house in order, so to speak, and you become obedient to the Word of God in that area of your life, it just starts to like snowball. I guess I'll use that term. In other areas of your life, it starts to open up other areas that you can be obedient to God in. And I have had people come back and tell me, you're so right, because once I got this part of my life to honor God, you want to honor God in other areas of your life. It's like a little snowball effect where it just kind of keeps going. And there's a lot of joy that comes with that. And also, like you said at the beginning, a lot of peace and freedom that comes with that as well. So.
Yeah, that's powerful. Um, any last thoughts?
Well, yeah, I agree that it's very powerful. I do have something that I want to throw out there and to see where you guys take it.
Okay, before you do that,
Okay.
we're going to open it up to questions as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's question time.
Yep. So if you can hold that thought and remember it,
Holding it.
Patience actually has a question for Rose. So Patience, come on up.
The beautiful patience.
I have questions. If I may call you Rose, and please excuse my background noise. Well, one, I am proud of you. Very proud of where you were and where you came. So my question is, okay, you're like, now what am I going to do? What steps am I going to take? So did you make like a little journal? Like, okay, these are the steps that I have to do. These are my goals where I want to reach. And I do agree that we have to learn to live in our means or below our means to get to where we're saving money. Like you said, you was able to help people But I also, we need to put God in our daily life on anything that we do daily. So that's, a daily reminder that God's with us all the time. But not my concern, but let's say someone came to you and, you share your story or testimony, as it may be. These are the steps that I took. This is where I came from, and this is where I am today. Because when a person goes to like a financial coach, I would say that might be their last straw because they're giving up hope and they're looking for a place to turn to for help. So they're trusting a coach to get them out of that little rut, hole, or whatever you may call it. So let's say I came to your office. Let's say I'm $30,000 in debt. This is where I am. This is my monthly income. This is my yearly income. What can you do for me?
I would say the very first thing I did was just like jump into the Bible first. I was so scared. I think anybody that goes through a divorce knows you can have as much peace as you want in other areas. But when you go through something that traumatic, your body, your mind, your emotions, your will needs time to heal. I remember taking a few months off to heal. A family provided a home for me to live in, which was my first miracle that I saw. But every day, and I was mentioning, do y'all mind, I guess, I want to mention the movie that I had told the guys about. I would encourage y'all in the chat room. Let me just ask and make sure it's okay with David and Will if I mention the movie to y'all.
Ready? Trying to get us coming on the mic. Yeah, absolutely. Go right on ahead. And as we were talking before this, you are not giving me the spoiler alert, so I'm gonna just put you on the spot right now and just ask you to share with everybody the spoiler alert. What's the movie about? Who is it about? And yeah, you can say what you will.
Okay, if y'all get a chance, I believe you can rent it on Prime Video. I was blessed because somebody blessed me with my birthday yesterday. But the movie reminded me of my life because in the movie, they have to depend on the Lord for everything because he starts out very wealthy. He's a music promoter, but then he loses everything. So anyway, you're going to know halfway through the movie that they're talking about a very famous Christian artist that's from Nashville. But in the movie, they were asking the kids to put every prayer request that they had. They had a need for a home. They had a need for furniture. They had a need for a car. I basically did the exact same thing every day. I woke up, and my story is very different from most people's story, even though I was married a very long time. It was a very abusive situation that I felt like when it ended that God kind of rescued me from it. And so I basically had to leave with nothing to go find my peace. So every day I woke up and prayed, and then a couple came forward and provided a home for me. And then I was provided a car, believe it or not, by my ex-husband. And then people would just start bringing me food. But every day I woke up and I would lay out, this is my needs for the day, Lord. And he would always do above and beyond what I ever could have asked for. And even the opportunity with the restaurant, that came through prayer because I lived in a Fair Oaks that's outside of Bernie, but every morning the Lord would just put it in my heart to go drive by the river in Bernie and sit there and pray. And when I was praying one day, this was months of prayer, I turned around and I saw this little restaurant sitting on the corner, and I just felt that I was going to have that restaurant soon. I don't know why I felt it, but I felt it in my heart. The Lord was telling me, trust me, I know what I'm doing. So I started praying over that restaurant, and I don't know the time frame, but I know within a year, I was the owner of that restaurant. And I can't even explain how everything came down the pike. It was unbelievable, story after story, testimony after testimony. So to go back to your question, I would say that prayer is the number one thing and just trusting God with every need that you have. And I would tell you first, if you came to me and said, okay, I have this amount of money and I'm this much in debt, what I would help you to see, and I'm helping another couple with this right now, let's take your smallest debt that you owe and let's climb that smallest mountain together first. Let's see that go away. We would look to find money that you don't even know that you have sitting there, that I might point something out to you. You might say, yeah, I really don't need that. And then there's more money in that monthly budget. And once you conquer that small mountain and we climb that mountain together, and I'm like your cheerleader, like you can do this, you can go over that mountain, you're going to be so built up, encouraged, just like I was, to go and say, I can tackle the next big thing in my life. Nothing is going to it's going to get bigger, but the fear goes away. The courage gets greater. And I had a friend recently call me on my birthday yesterday, and she's known me for 40-something years. And she said, I just have one word to define you in your life. And she said the word courage. And I know where the courage came from. It did not come from me. I said, I give all the glory to God because He is the one that gave me the courage to just keep moving forward. So that's kind of my, thank you, Patience, for my birthday wishes. That's kind of my thing is like, I don't feel like there's any mountain too big for me to climb. You know, things are going to happen. They're going to come down your path. But once you get the courage to do the small mountain, you'll just keep getting more and more courage and faith to go and climb the higher mountains in your life.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of my questions too. Like, tackle the smallest debt first, correct? Get that small debt out of the way. Okay, like on your CCs, which everybody knows, credit cards, would you want to work towards the one that has a higher interest? Or here's a thought. Some people make the mistake of going to get a loan, as you know. I'm sure you've seen it. Get a loan to pay off all that credit card debt. But then now they are tied into probably a higher interest rate, and they still have that monthly payment to make. But yeah, that was one of my questions too, because people don't usually have just one credit card. They usually have like 2 or 3, correct? Then that's what gets people in trouble.
I just want to interject this real quickly. I actually am working with a client that did that exact same thing. Because of the credit card debt, they thought they had to pay off the biggest one, so they went and got I think it was a home equity loan, and now they're in debt for $30,000 instead of just the credit card debt. So, because they want you to have a minimum on the home equity side, and so that's what gets you into deeper debt, and then the interest rate on that is high right now. So yeah, I'm working with them to get that paid off, the home equity loan paid off, and get all that, redeemed and everything, because they paid off the credit card with that. So that's a very good point you brought up, Patience.
Yeah. Wow. I'm over here. I don't know if you guys saw, but I was like pulling my hair out. I was frustrated, and there's something though that I have both experienced and that I get to give back inside of my own coaching practice. You as well, Rose and David here. Like, we have these healthy boundaries up, and yeah, and we don't share like our personal, intimate money information with like anybody. Like, that's our business. But what a good financial coach can do for you is earn your trust, go there with you, just like Rose said, cheer you on, empower you, educate you, and coach you. And then, like, stop coaching you. After, I think on average it's like a year and a half, like coaching doesn't last forever. And then you split ways, and now those healthy boundaries are still up, probably even more enforced now, to be honest. And you have like these behaviors, these habits that will lead you on into financial freedom. Baby step 7, like living and giving like no one else. The value of a good financial coach all three of us here, invaluable. Invaluable. You can't put a price tag on it. You can, and we do, but you get the point. Like, it's invaluable, the results that it yields. These are legacies being changed. These are lives being changed. Like, these are generations being changed because one person stands up and says, it stops here.
Well, the funny thing is, I was just on talking to somebody earlier today, and this particular person, on the average, as long as they do what they're kind of being told, 6 years, they're a millionaire. So we can't charge what we are worth. We can't, because people can't afford it. But if in 6 years you become a millionaire, what is that worth to you? So I mean, if you had to pay $12,000 for 1 year, but 6 years down the road you're a millionaire, is it worth it?
I would say that's a good return on investment.
I sure would. Because
Yeah.
after all, when you're with a coach, personal development, you're investing in yourself to grow.
And David, I can't tell you how many times where I've been at that threshold of change and I've really just been frustrated. I had the want to,
Hmm.
but not the know-how.
Yep. And I mean, we spend all the time money on self-help books to improve ourselves.
See this one? Yeah, there we go. Let me move my hand there. Atomic Habits. It's kind of glossy. There you go. You can kind of see it if I do this. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Tiny changes, remarkable results. Don't want to miss out on this, guys. There's a powerful illustration on there. You care if I share it?
Of course you can share it.
Okay.
Why are you asking?
Well, I don't know. I just felt like I needed your permission, David. Okay, so here we go. James Clear, he talks about an ice cube, okay? And here you are. Here is the land flowing with milk and honey, let's say, right here. And here's this ice cube. It's like an ice boulder, like a kind of like a glacier, if we're honest. Like this huge thing. And it's standing in our way.
Well, the glacier took the Titanic down.
Yeah. The ship that couldn't be sunk, right? Not even God himself could sink this ship, is what he said. And then it sank. How about
By a glacier.
By a glacier. Yeah, so here you are, land of milk and honey, the glacier is there. And you work, you sweat, and you bleed. You try, and you put everything out there on the line. And you're trying to up the degree of the atmosphere by all of your labor, right? So it's 0 degrees when you start. By the end of that day, after all the work and the sweat, the blood, and the tears, it's 1 degree. 4 weeks later, it's 28 degrees. And that glacier is still there, looking at you pompously. Like it's cocky. It hasn't changed at all. And we're mad and we're tired and we're doubting. Right? We're doubting. 4 days later, it's 32 degrees. And we get to stand in the glory of that moment. And we see the molecular structure of this ice cube start to change. It once was a solid. Now it's becoming a liquid being drank up by the earth itself. And now the land flowing with milk and honey is right there. Now, what James Clear so beautifully articulates here in this book, Atomic Habits, it's not about what we just did on day number 32, as much as it's about throughout the entire month. We're putting together these habits and we're watching them come to fruition and change our lives. Good personal development coach teaches this, is patient, is long-suffering, and it's powerful. It's powerful.
Powerful. And pretty much as a coach, that's one of the books we all read because of the tricks it gives. I know that's one of your favorites. My favorite is the one about the guy. There's a team that can't win any Olympics.
Yeah.
And he teaches and changes one small thing across the board. But that one small thing across the board made a big impact because it was a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And we do that as well. But I mean, the thing is we get so much power from that book that we're able to help others. And if people was to read that book, Just that book alone, as long as they can do it,
Mm.
man, the change that would happen.
It creates overflow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rose?
Yeah, so while y'all were talking, I was thinking the same thing. Like, it's kind of that theory of, he was saying, like the ice cube, it's melting slowly. But with financial, when you're trying to get your finances in order, you might not see a huge change happening quickly. It's kind of one of those things that you're working towards these goals, and it seems like it's taken forever. It's happening slowly. But then before you know it, like Patience was even saying, very smart that she brought up, how many people go into debt just trying to get out of debt? More than likely, if you pay off that small debt, you climb that small mountain, you're going to rise to the top of that mountain and you want to go put a flag on it and say, okay, got this conquered. Let me go to the next big thing that's on my list. So you're kind of moving slowly toward getting it done. But once it's said and done and you're on the other side of things and you're looking back and see every mountain that you climbed, that's where the freedom and the victory come in. And you realize, wow, how did I do that? So, yeah, I love it. I love it. So it might seem slow in the doing, but once you've done it, you're like, how in the world did I ever do that? Because I look back a lot of times and go, I don't know how I did it, you know. But when I was going through it, it was very intense.
If anybody has any questions in the room, feel free. We are in the question spots. But it's funny you say that you didn't even realize how you got through. When I took Financial Peace University the first time, in the very first 9 weeks, my life changed so much. It was like, how did this even happen? I mean, an unreal amount was taken care of. Unreal. Like, you don't even make that much. How did that get taken care of? You know? Because one, when you put him in charge, and in case you guys don't know, I'm talking about God. When you put God in charge and you walk on his word, how can you fail? How can anything go wrong?
Yeah.
Right? And then things just get pulled together.
Amen. What I see a lot, not just in my clients' lives, but in my friends and family's lives. And hey, just turn on the news. You can see it. We can see it in our own lives too. Like the relatable factor comes in again. Is this God-shaped hole that we have, right? And then we're trying to fill it with anything but God, and we're just hungry. We want more and more and more and more and more. And a lot of the times, it's the possessions, it's the material stuff that we're trying to fill that God-shaped hole with, and it's never enough. You can take a family making $150,000 and give them a financial coach, give them a personal development coach. Everything's going to change for them.
Mhm.
Everything's going to change for them. And if they don't, they could still be broke. They're still spending more than they make. So that's the point here. I mean, anything else, David, on that?
That's right on point.
Yeah.
Now it brings me to another question for you.
Hmm.
You were holding a thought.
Yeah.
You forgot it.
Briefly.
Okay. Um, but the thing is, it's like,
Oh, got it.
go for it then.
Okay. So, talking about marriage, Rose, you're talking about um, coaching people. I don't know if you were talking about your own marriage. Well, I've coached up people in marriages, and you probably have too. And David, I know you have. Um, and yeah, I think it's really important that we talk about this for a little while anyway. We'll spend too much time on it because we are coming to the end, and this will be an ongoing progression, I'm sure. So when we do come up to those clients, right, where we see obviously one is like doing it all, paying all the bills, keeping track. The other person just feels useless when it comes to the budget. And it's a hot button issue. Like it's a fight ready to happen. And a lot of times, like our job is just to be the sounding board, facilitating a somewhat productive discussion.
Mhm.
Um,
But it's funny, if they do it properly, it actually brings the marriage together
sure.
because it opens communication, and I know Now, you guys might not know what this is because you have to understand things, but I'm a big nerd. So I'm the one that
Yes,
would
he
actually
is.
create the, so I'm the one that would create the budget, and I'm the one that would do all that kind of stuff. And then we go into the budget meeting, and my other partner, my significant other, would have to be the free spirit.
Which he's single out there, you ladies. So
So with that being said, they have to make at least one change. But I love being in control. Wait, you're going to touch my budget? That's hard for somebody
yeah,
that likes to be in control.
yeah,
That's hard for a big nerd,
right.
you know? And you have to allow one change. And you can't say nothing. In the budget meeting, the nerd can't say anything.
So the fact that you are willing to give that control, or at least share it, is like a huge compliment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're like not only saying I'm sharing the creating the budget with you, you're saying I trust you with all this work, this accumulative effort. Like you could come and derail everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, it's funny. The first time I actually shared with somebody and let them make one change, well, in my book, it was make one change. Literally, it's at least one change. But when they're looking over, I'm like, I was freaking out, because I'm a high nerd, you know. I don't, hey, look, I put the time, I made the budget, just do this.
Yeah.
But no, that's not communication.
Uh-uh.
Communication is different. And
Yeah.
then even once it's done,
That's like a tyrant.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, it doesn't work.
yep. But then even once it's done, you got to keep the budget.
Mhm.
So you have to build that communication to be strong to make sure that you stay with it.
And that's where a good personal development coach comes in
Mm-hmm.
because it turns those dead end conversations, the repetitive questions, because in order to not be a tyrant, we ask the question. It's like, okay, do we want to have enough money to eat this month? You know? And it's like it turns those frustrating conversations into productive ones because and every spouse will agree and will be able to see what I'm about to say. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. You hear the same thing that you've been saying to your spouse from another person, and it now it clicks and it makes sense. It's like I've been telling you that for 6
Mm-hmm.
months,
Mm-hmm.
but because it's coming from somebody else, and the guards are let down, and now there's trust earned, and you're walking alongside them, it clicks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that is powerful. And it happens all the time. And people don't even realize it. And they're like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, so Rose, do you have anything else to share?
No, unless anyone else has any other questions. I've just been really enjoying the conversation. I did want to say one quick thing. I actually hired a coach to coach me so that I could be a better coach for my clients, because I feel like anytime you're asking someone to invest in you, you should be investing in yourself. So I just wanted to say that. And it does help you be a better coach when you let somebody else mentor you. So, yeah. But thank y'all so much for having me on. And I feel very honored and humbled at the same time to have been a part of this. So I really enjoyed it.
And you said something key there. Every good coach, because not every coach does, but every good coach has a coach. I have a coach myself, and every good coach will have a coach. And they're what pushes you, they get you to that next level. Matter of fact, I know one coach, they had a coach for 6 months. They didn't have a coach no more because, I'm not going to go into why,
Yeah,
but they didn't have a coach, and you could tell the difference.
yeah.
You knew when they had a coach, and you knew when they didn't have a coach.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's crucial that we do. Matter of fact, I have a coach that coaches me, but I coach several coaches, and that brings me up to something that I'm getting ready to do special. I made a small announcement on a short, but didn't really go into too many details. But live here, you guys are getting the details.
Oh boy.
I am starting a new group coaching call.
No, you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude. Tell us about it.
And I'm going to tell you something. For the first 4 people, they're going to get in for free for 2 months. And what this first one is going to be getting out of debt. It's group coaching, so it's a little bit more than just one-on-one, but it opens a door for you to be able to hear from other people what's going on, as well as give your points to try to change your life, as well as other testimonies. So it's powerful, but the first 4 are going to get in for free for the first 2 months. It will max out at 12. Other groups will start up, but they're going to be different purposes. We're going to have one just for executives. We're going to have one just for businesses.
Yeah.
One just for coaches. We're going to have several different ones, and
Or
they're going
if
to
you're
all
trying
be
to get out of
powerful.
debt.
Yep, the first one is getting out of debt. This is going to happen, as of right now, it's going to happen once a month. And the first 4 people gets in for free.
What? Sign up.
Yep.
Wait.
So, and the first class will be starting in September. So
September what?
it's still coming.
Okay. Perfect.
So, but
Looking forward to hearing more about that.
breaking news.
Love it.
First 4 people.
You know, and a little bit more about a coach without a coach. A coach without a coach is like a doctor. A coach that refuses to be coach, we'll say it that way, is like a doctor who refuses to go see a doctor. We struggle to see our own like lives objectively, and some places are just hard to reach. Like we need that person in our lives that is going to share with us, like have the hard talks and encourage us. Hello. Uh, and empower us. So yeah, it's vitally important. Vitally important.
Well, what I like to do, I like to use analogies. So we're here. Our comfortable zone is here. Here you will never grow. You will never get any better. Nothing will ever change.
Yes.
You're going to be the same thing you are today. By the way, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results.
So when you're comfortable, you're insane. As a coach, we pull you into your uncomfortable zone.
Yeah, that's
However, what I like to do is I like to get you to stretch to the uncomfortable and a step further.
yeah.
So what's going to make you get out of your comfort zone and stretch you to change? It's this. Well, let's go here. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a little bit further.
Dude, I just have something to tally onto that. I think there's like a lot of people out in the world that are finding their sanity, finding their place of not here, but here, and there we go, and doing things that are hurting them, but it's different, so they're achieving their sanity by it. I think it's what David. I think what you were onto. Wow, it's amazing. So here, and then pushing you one step further here. But notice it's vertical. Vertical's here. It's on an incline. It's growing. It's going in the right direction. Personal development coaches make sure that you're growing in the right direction.
Yes.
It's kind of like that analogy. Okay, we're going down. We're like 10 feet down in the water, in the ocean. The sun's down. We can't see the light. We don't know which way is up or down. We need that trusted voice. We need that professional. We need that earned trust that a personal development coach can give.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. So we thank you, everybody, for coming, and we enjoyed you here. This has been a great time, and this happens every Thursday. We have special guests lining up all the way through September. Matter of fact, I'm just going to say this. We have an extremely special guest coming up September 5th.
Extremely. I have no idea who it is, but they're extremely special.
You do.
Do I?
And we're scared.
And we're scared.
But we're not scared. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. We're going to definitely have fun with it. But yeah, we've got exciting guests So, there's always somebody different. So you definitely want to come back, check out. It's every Thursday, same time, same channel. Make sure you come back, check it out because you're going to love it.
Yep.
And the first half hour is always open to, we discuss. The second half hour, we open up to questions. So,
Yeah. And just remember, guys and gals, that if you want a specific topic of discussion discussed, let us know in advance. We would love to